Hey, everybody, welcome to Talk It Up with Tamika. Hope everyone is having a terrific Thursday. This evening, actually, this month, I want to discuss the series of Let's Talk Grief. And what does that look like in the world that we're living in right now? Because we know that grief affects many people, no matter who you are or where you come from, we all will experience grief at one point in life. Okay, so I'm just going to hold on and wait and see who's going to come in. See if we get some people to come on in the room. Come on in the room. Let's see. Let's see if I get at least one person to come on in. Okay, well, I'm just going to go ahead and get started and maybe somebody will come in while I'm talking. So again, welcome to Talk It Up with Tamika. For the month of October, I will be conducting a series entitled Let's Talk Grief. So I believe it's a subject that is needed, especially with the times that we are living in. We are living now in a society where grief is affecting many people. Grief does not discriminate. It does not choose one culture over another or one gender over another. It affects us all in different ways. So to understand grief is to understand that grief is associated with loss. Okay. So most people associate grief solely with death, but a person can experience grief by the loss of a job, loss of a pet, a divorce, a diagnosis for oneself, or even a diagnosis of a close friend. A caregiver who's caring for someone who is sick can also experience grief. And grief can also be caused by the fear of loss, the fear of losing something. Even in within this pandemic, being in a situation where you are not technically living what you are accustomed to, that can also bring you grief. And there's a list, that can go on and on about the different types or the different effects that grief have on a person. So let's be real. The loss of anyone or anything we love or cherish is a hard pill to swallow. Let's just keep it real. So losses in life can trigger a sense of grief. So, for example, you might grieve after moving away from your home. You could grieve from selling a home. You can grieve by changing jobs. Okay, triggers. You could be having a conversation with someone, and someone can bring up a person that you miss, who has gone on. That could be a trigger. There's many triggers. You could be going through pictures and you see someone that you lost, that you love, and they're no longer here. That could also be a trigger. So whatever your loss is personal to you. So don't feel ashamed about how you feel or believe that it's somehow only appropriate to grieve for certain things. Okay. So if the person, the animal, the relationship, or situation was significant to you, it's normal to grieve the loss you're experiencing. So, whatever the cause of your grief, though there are healthy ways to cope with the pain that in time can ease your sadness and help you come to cope with your loss. You begin to find new meaning and eventually put the pieces together. So, eventually, you begin to move forward with life. You basically just learn how to cope. Okay. And there is no wrong or right way to grieve. So, how you grieve depends on many factors, including your personality, your coping style, your life experience, your faith, how significant the loss was to you. A couple examples. So, there's this guy at my church. He was married and his wife died. And I think less than a year, maybe within 6 months, he started dating again. And so people started questioning him, like, don't you think it's too soon for you to be dating? You know, you like your wife just died. It hasn't even been a year yet. But who are we to put a timetable on someone's grief? Who are we to tell someone that, you should grieve for a certain time period? Like my dad, for example, he's been dead this year, makes 30 years that he's been gone. And I still have moments. I was a young kid when he passed away, but I still have moments. But throughout the years, throughout life, as I mature, as I grow in my faith, I have learned to cope with his death. But the fact that he's missing that missing piece of the puzzle, it still bothers me at times. Okay, I'm just keeping it real. And so, who are we to put a timetable on someone's grief? It could be weeks, it could be months, it could be years. You understand? There's no timetable when it comes to grief. So, inevitably, the grieving process takes time. Healing happens gradually. It's not something that happens overnight. So don't put extra pressure on yourself and don't let other people add pressure onto you. Okay. So it can't be forced or hurried. And there is no normal timetable for grieving. Some people start to feel better in weeks, some months. For others, the grieving process is measured in years. So whatever your grief experience, it's important to be patient with yourself and allow the process to naturally unfold. Okay. And y'all forgive me if you see me looking different ways because I have like 3 or 4 different social medias going on at the same time. And I'm a one-woman show. So I'm trying to capture all. Okay. And I thank you for the one person who's tuning in. God bless your heart. So acknowledge your pain. Accept that grief can trigger many different and unexpected emotions. Understand that your grieving process will be unique to you. Okay. And it drives me crazy when people say, I know how you feel. No, you don't. Just because you lost a father, like I lost a father, doesn't mean we feel the same way. Okay. The way you feel about your father is different from the way I feel about my father. And the way you grieve about your father is going to be different on how I grieve about my father. You understand what I'm saying? It drives me crazy, especially in church, the lingo that they come up with. Like, do you stop and think about what you're saying? And I get it, we want to be there for the person, but your presence, meaning like your physical presence, is more than anything that can come out of your mouth. You understand me? It means more than anything you can say, your actions, being present in the moment, and more so being present after the casket is closed, being present when everything is over. Because, like, during the process, a lot of people are around, but it's after the process. Where are the people? Where is that friend who said, I'll be there for you? You can call on me and I'll check on you, anything you need. Where they at? Someone's going through cancer. Okay, where are you? I need your help. Call me. And many times when someone's going through an illness while they are grieving, it's hard for them, especially if they're a person who's very independent. It's hard for them to call on somebody or to ask for help. So for you to be that friend to call and say, hey, I got you. Do you need anything? It goes a long way. Okay. It's one thing to say, I got your back. It's another thing to show that you got that person back. Okay. So and then understand your grieving process will be unique to you. It's not going to be the same. Seek out face-to-face support from people who care about you. Okay? So you're having those friends, those confidants that you can talk to, whether they're family members, where it's someone at church, where it's a support group, where it's a therapist, some especially in the Black and brown community, many of us don't believe in therapy. Get you a therapist. It will bless your life. Okay. I can testify. I have no shame about it. Yes, a therapist. Get you one. Okay. Support yourself emotionally by taking care of yourself physically. Because many times, we go into a place where we get down, we're hurting, and we stop caring for ourselves. We don't, you know, dress up like we used to. Some people I've seen them walking around in black for months. There's people who actually do that. There's people who just don't want to wash themselves. There's people who just don't want to be around other people. They'd rather just be alone. So support yourself emotionally. Find things that relate to you, whether it's mindfulness, like that's something that I'm into now, yoga, listening to music, listening to prayers, because you might not even be in a position to pray for yourself. But there's prayers online you can tune into and just listen to them. you know so there's ways to help yourself emotionally and take care of yourself physically. Recognize the difference between grief and depression, because there is a difference, okay, between grief and depression. And I'm not going to get into depression tonight. I'm just focusing on grief. But I want you to understand that this is not something you should be ashamed of. It's not uncommon. It's not abnormal. Okay, for for you to be grieving. Okay, I have a friend right now who's been grieving for like 3 years over a death of a loved one. Who am I to tell that person uh, time is up? Everyone's grieving process is different. I have a friend who lost a job during the pandemic. And he's afraid that he may lose it all. What am I supposed to say? All I can do is be there, be that listening ear, help him best way I can, however I can. And even me, I was a point where I grieved because I spoke about it last month. Yeah, we're in October. Wow, first day of October. I spoke about it last month, something that I went through recently for like 9 months. And there was a grieving process that I went through because there was the fear of losing. So there's different ways of grieving, there's different causes of grief, okay? And there's no timetable to grief, okay? So please, people, stop it. Stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Stop putting a timetable on people. Stop telling people how they should grieve, when they should grieve. No, that's not your job. Your job is to be there, be present. That's what they need. They need someone who can be present. Okay. So, like I stated, I'm doing a series for the month of October on grief. Today, we're basically like a little intro. So, we're going to step it up each Thursday for the month of October. So, next Thursday, I'm going to talk about the myths that comes with grief and the do's and don'ts when it comes to grief. Okay. What you should not say to people. And church people, especially, are guilty for that. We'll leave it at that. But I thank you for you all who have tuned in on this evening. I hope that what I said was a blessing in some way, some shape, some form. And I thank you those who will tune in for the replay, for Let's Talk Grief. And again, please, share the video and tune in for next Thursday. Um, Let's Talk Grief. I am Tamika, your spiritual transformation strategist who is here to help you evolve in order to elevate. As always, it's my desire that these videos inspire, encourage, and motivate you. You can follow me on Instagram as well as Facebook at evolve_elevate_coach T. You could please subscribe to my YouTube video, Tamika L. Fussell, like, follow, share, I would appreciate it. Thank you in advance. And if you're interested for a 45-minute complimentary session, you can inbox me and we can get that going. I am here to help in any way that I can. Okay. I love you all. Thank you again. See you next Thursday. Let's talk grief. Be blessed. Peace.